going on, everyone? What's going on?
Woo!
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Internet. Hey, how you doing, Internet?
Woo!
The
Internet.
interweb is blowing up.
Internet.
Definitely is.
We're happy.
Definitely.
We're happy to be here.
I'm
I think
great.
it's a good time.
We are, man. It is. It's a good time. I think this is gonna be a fun episode. I'm leading into this. I'm really thinking this is gonna be a fun one. Very potentially divisive. But before we even jump into this episode, let's let our guy DP let you guys know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com. People, you will get all your favorite social media ads with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, ? You know,
For now.
for now. Stay tuned. And that's at nerdcyclopedia.com, people. So make sure that you guys are following us on all those your favorite platforms while they're still there. If you're listening to the podcast, tune in on us on iHeartRadio, tune in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Odyssey, anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Guess what? We're there. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification button. Anytime that we're on, you know that we're on. If you are trying to tune this week on Facebook, Facebook actually kicked us off. They kicked all the groups off of StreamYard. So we got to find a way to get that back on. But good thing we are now on Instagram Live, Nerds Cyclopedia. So when you follow us on Instagram, you will get notification anytime that we're online. So guess what? We're there too. Make sure you're leaving us an email too. Leave us some feedback, nerds@nerdcyclopedia.com. We love getting all your feedback and pushing it right back out to you.
Well said. And I don't even have a place to start. So I think this will be very divisive. You guys can take the reins with this one because I already know. You guys already know how I feel.
I'll go first. So, as I said in the text chain and everything, this was a good episode last season. Yeah. Not the penultimate episode. So if all the great episodes that happened this season, and believe me, we had some really good, Bad Batch episodes this season. If all it amounts to is just a rescue of Omega, then I think we've sort of failed to mission there. So the only thing I'm just thinking of is like we were talking about last week. They thought they had more time, but ended up not having enough time. So they went with the best story option to end it off, and you just have a rescue of Omega and the kids and stuff, and not really cash some checks, is like T-Mitch likes to say. I think it's a failed opportunity. I think it was just a lot of great meat on the bone this season. And I'm going to miss the Bad Batch when it ends. I would have liked to get a little bit more deeper into to these characters and stuff. And I don't think that I don't think they're going to do that. Into a lot of these hanging dangling plots and stuff. So it just makes me think, okay, was this whole show meant to just be about the crew? And everything that happens on the peripheral is just like, okay, things that just happen in like the Star Wars universe, they continue in other stories and other platforms. And all we really need to really know is that this crew, a band of brothers and sister, are just there trying to survive, essentially, just trying to survive. They're not trying to save the world. They're not trying to, do like a Luke Skywalker and everything, save the universe and stuff. They're not trying to, destroy like the Death Star or whatever. They're just trying to survive and, get their sister back. And if that's what it amounts to, okay, then the series accomplished it. But I didn't expect this when I started watching the Bad Batch in season 1. So.
Mm-hmm.
So
hypercritical.
So, the pacing in this series, I just I even on in the episodes, I feel like you have to give them like a D-, like for how much time they're spending on stuff. what they dedicate. Like the choices, it's like there's a lot of weird choices of what to include and what to exclude. Like almost as if they had too many episodes for a while, and now again everything's all bunched up, on the far end of the banner. It's tiny letters all smashed together. You can barely read it over there. And maybe even they stop being bubbles at the end. The day and birthday is just all just regular letters, just straight like stick figure letters out there. So yeah, it's weird that they're being so direct, right? Like if they kind of have all this buildup as if they're going to do all these profound things and reveal all these profound truths and settle all these mysteries in the Star Wars universe. And then they're just pretty much not doing it. They're just choosing. So it's like some babies screaming at them, please, please, please give us some of these resolution. And they're just ignoring that baby and doing whatever they want. It's crazy. So to me, this episode.
Yeah, she's upset too. I mean, I totally feel her.
Happy about it. This episode had some cool stuff though. Omega, those pneumatic tubes they were using to sing, those cube tubes that were sending all over the place were pretty cool. The pink vessels were neat. But man, it doesn't feel like you needed this episode in the middle. Like why? Why is this even here? Like you could fast forward to there's a crash, they're almost gonna get found. You could fast forward to, hey, we already saw that Omega knows how to escape like this. You could have shown us this already.
Right. We already see monsters in the jungle, like the very beginning of the season and everything. So,
right, we already know about this because we already saw this with Omega. So, like, what are we doing back here? So that's my ask is that you get it over with, so these kids can escape at the same time. The Bad Batch are breaking in and meet in the middle and run away. You get that over with so that you can explore what's going to be interesting, which is a fallout for this. Which guess what? And once you pop out of I'm sorry guys, my daughter's losing her mind today. But once you pop out of hyperspace in Mount Tannis, you're basically like astronomically, you'd be able to figure out where you are in the galaxy just from running a scope, and those are the coordinates for Mount Tannis, so you know where it is. So like once this infiltration becomes known, they're going to have to abandon this whole place. They're not going to be able to use it anymore because the people will know where it is. And you can't run a secret lair where, people know where you are. It's just not possible to do.
Okay.
Sorry.
So your point, Steel City, nobody knows where it is. The only people that know where it is are the Empire and the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is not affiliated with anybody else, so nobody else knows where this place is. If they all die at the end of this, then nobody will ever know where this place is. So the Empire is pretty safe. The Empire's safe.
That's true. That's definitely one way out for the Empire, right? Eradication.
Yeah, they don't. It's not public knowledge. The Alliance, or whatever is happening with the rebellion, they have no idea. Nor do they care. This is a medical operation, which has nothing to do with the big picture. Now, yeah, I don't know. I guess y'all are going to have to come up with some real, definite arguments as to why this storyline is failing. Let me make a point. If we went back and picked apart Empire Strikes Back in this granular detail that you guys are tearing this apart, Empire Strikes Back would be a big pile of garbage, because not only did it introduce a lot of new stories and characters that really didn't go anywhere except within that 2-hour movie, but it also, if as a standalone movie, it's okay. It is one of my favorite. Let me say I've given this some thought today, because I know you guys think this is going sideways. I disagree, because I think we've come to this season's end, its result, which was always about Omega. This whole series was about Omega.
Whoa. This was
it
called
is.
The Bad Batch, man.
And who is she? She's
not the bad one out of the bunch.
She's a defective clone, and they're taking her in because she doesn't fit with the rest of the clones. Now, they're not there for Omega only. Hunter stated it. He's there to free every one of those prisoners. And what I see happening is a little bit of a jailbreak piece, also an alliance tip, because I can see all these stormtroopers going, yeah, you know what? These guys are right. This is horseshit. We gotta help. We gotta shut this down. I mean, I feel like there may be some, maybe not, but I like to think that there might be like some clone within those stormtroopers that is still there that may sympathize with these prisoners at some point, especially during this huge jailbreak that they're going to have, initiated by Omega, who has found a way. She found a weapon. She found a weapon that she's going to use to break out of this place and free all those clone prisoners. And that's pretty huge. That's a big piece of starting to crumble the Empire from within, is to take something that they think they have pretty well protected and sabotage it and destroy it and turn it into a useless pile of crap. I mean, we can't fault them. Yes, there were real low points in season 1 and 2. We didn't really know where the story was going to go, where they were going to drive. But I mean, honestly, I don't feel that this season's really gone off course or fallen off the rails like seen other things. I mean, I would like to have seen this episode maybe a few episodes earlier to give us a little bit more beef at the end, but that's not what we got. And what are we going to do? What are you going to do?
We're here. We're going to be honest. We're going to give honest feedback, Ken. You just gave honest feedback. This should have been 4 episodes ago.
Right, but I can't see where it's like a complete pile of junk. Like
I'm not saying it's a junk.
We're just saying that there.
Certainly, the episode itself is fine. The Rampart stuff's funny. I mean, it's fine. But the question is, why are we here again? Why not? Why are we seeing this twice? The same. Like even Omega's like, yo, I did this. I already did this level.
because we got caught. How many times have you gone back to a level and played it through again and been like, oh, I found an Easter egg?
We've done that, but
secret room.
Sure. I will say this.
And that would be great if this was season 2, episode 7, or this was 4 episodes ago, like you said. This is time. Time is of the essence. We're on the A in birthday, right? The A at the end. So to me, that my critique is not that it's terrible or bad or that the story itself is bad, like because everything's fine. And I think again, if we had more episodes after this, last 2, I would be super fine with an episode like this. But it's a 15 episode season, not a 25. And we have to deal with the time that's left. And yeah, I'm going to get a little bit nervous when there's all these, things and issues that we're promised resolution on. I mean, that's the thing. Once you say, hey, we're giving you some more information, and then you don't really pay that off later, that's going to give you a feeling of, hey, why didn't you just pay that off? Like, why didn't you just do it? Like, just tell me what's going on here. Like, does the Empire after this, when like the clones escape, do they decide like, well, we can't have clones anymore? Like, is there's time for them to do something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. And that would be and I think we talked about it last week that, I think Tarkin is going to be a big decision maker in that exact thing. Clones are a terrible idea. None of this experimentation, none of this research that you're doing is doing the Empire any good. You're wasting funds. You're creating a lot of like question, and there's a lot of clouded controversy, which we don't need right now, because we're trying to bring peace to the galaxy, not create scientific mutants in some fashion. That's not what we're trying to do. No. We're not trying to create a superhuman race. We're just trying to.
They don't want to create a superhuman race. They just want to create one superhuman guy. That's all. Not a whole race. They don't want to export that. Palpatine doesn't want to share that elixir. He doesn't want a second Steve Rogers, right? You close that door behind you once you go through it. I think that's what you do.
So maybe like a Scott Summers type of thing. We just want not the apex super being, but maybe just a few notches down. We still want to have control over him.
Well, Palpatine basically wants to be Apocalypse. That's what Palpatine's trying to do here, right? So, I don't know. Palpatine tends to skew to me on the eviler scale. And I see the rest of the Imperial stuff as being just like byproducts of having to have a tight administrative state. Kind of like how people say, like, oh, well, Genghis Khan brought commerce and culture to Asia, right? But on top of a pile of bodies, right? Like just millions
there
of
was
people.
There was a huge cost to that
right.
benefit, right? Yeah.
So I see Sheev as being on that axis of kind of like that guy. That's how I see that all kind of.
And somehow he came back. Somehow Palpatine returned. We just don't know.
No one's sure how that happened yet.
Yeah, we're still not sure how Palpatine returned.
We're probably not going to ever find out. Based.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
We just don't know.
We both took a swing at that one.
Yeah. Based on the fact that we have 24 minutes to go, I don't think we're going to find out either. And that's like the really that's just been and I'm going to keep even energy here because DP knows I go on these rants about Marvel. I got to keep the same energy here with Star Wars. Look, it's not a bad episode, but this is 4 episodes ago. We talked about it. For this to be the penultimate, we should not be doing a side quest in the jungle. So let's just summarize. We're not going to figure out what the hell happens to Nala Se. We're not going to figure out what the hell is going on with Emery being a sister. We're not going to figure out what's in the damn pods. We're going to see Omega somehow force control this beast. What was her name who did it? The whatever.
I don't think she has to force control it. All they have to do is release it. It's
she's
pretty
communicate with it. No, she's going to
communicate
communicate
off right now. I don't think you have to.
It does seem pretty angry. I got to give Ken that serpent seems.
It's going to go crazy.
Upset about the way it's been treated by the Empire. So I think
I can see her communicating.
Given an opportunity, is going to do its thing without any motivation.
Yeah, no telepathy necessary to get a rampage out of that beast.
Not necessarily telepathy, but I think she's going to talk to it like Asajj did. They just foreshadowed that in the episode when she learned to control that beast. There's going to be
why else would they do that? Why would they show you a mechanism to do something and then not use it later?
So
why would they do that?
There's just too much. There's too many of these smoking guns. There's too many checks. We talked about it. We need a checkbook. We need to get a cash register noise in the background because
that being said, there are some forms of payment that are exactly as good as cash, right? Exactly as good as a check. I'll take a gold bar every day, right? I'll take that as payment. So you show me a Beskar or a Beskar, right?
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah, Beskar is a good.
You could definitely say it's not like this is, and to Ken's point, right? I don't think this is irretrievable or this whole season's a waste or it's bad.
No,
I like this season better than season 2 for sure. Yes. It's definitely at least the second best.
Yeah, we can agree to that. Yeah, we can agree.
So I definitely don't have anything negative to say. And yeah, they could land this in a way that's satisfying. Sure, because they could tie up all the stuff at Mount Tantus and then give us an explanation for what happens that's satisfying, right? Which is basically something like Luke Skywalker flying in on the X-Wing, right? Something like that, where it's a moment, it's a character it's something that's exciting. That's a form of payment that I'll take in lieu of answering those questions, right? So yeah, maybe if your plan the whole time is just to tell me that you're going to pay me in cash, and then hand me I don't know, pretend we're in Western Pennsylvania, so we can say it, a big cask of whiskey, and tell me that's just as good. Hey,
how would Luke show up in an X-Wing fighter in this time?
I'm saying that moment from
the moment from Mandalorian, yeah. No.
That moment. So if you left a bunch of dangling stuff in that episode, but you said, hey, we had to make room for this Luke Skywalker awesomeness, I'd be like, all right, I'd rather see that anyway. So good.
Or what about General Kenobi? What if he showed up? What if he showed up somehow? And
we might as well add another character. I mean, there's 7,000. So I guess
what if Ahsoka from the future steps out of a room like one of those requirement rooms?
Oh man,
it's hey, I'm back. It's back in time.
Well,
now,
it's like if you save all that for the last episode, it's like. That's you're doing tricks and stuff.
It is, yeah. It's too much.
Have it earn just like I mean, I guess to Ken's point, the series really has been about Omega, being with her brothers,
pretty much every minute of it.
and developing that relationship with them, with and without them. I mean, it's really like Omega and Crosshair, Crosshair's descent and the way he just came back and everything. It's really been about, those two for the most part. Even though, Crosshair came back, we really haven't gotten like into Crosshair, this season, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't feel like we've gotten to the Bad Batch character development all this season, and it's fine if it's fine if you're saying, Ken, that this is Omega's show. However, the check doesn't cash then if Omega gets her own series, because then it throws all this stuff to the wind, and we lost a team that we really could have spent time on developing leading up to an Omega series. Because right now we've not.
So I guess it begs the question: was the Bad Batch, considering that they're clones, considering they really have no history but their war history, are we supposed to expect any more from them beyond what they are?
Well, now we are, because we see that Crosshair, and he alluded to it on the last episode with Rampart, he's starting to get that self-awareness. He was been a hard soldier, and now he cares for somebody. He has, empathy, and he was the toughest one to break. So to see the fact that he has empathy, it kind of, as Hitch said, alludes to like these clones are starting to break this regimen of being just soldiers. They're starting to kind of become almost human to some elements, right? They're starting to feel emotion, love, things like that. So it's weird to, like I said, and then they show that emotion of him, and then you're gonna have one episode. So, and then Rampart alludes to like, are you really changed? Like that was alluding to something's going on, whether there's like a chip in Crosshair or something. Like the way he said it alluded to a little more that like he knows maybe about Crosshair or what happened to him. Because once again, we forgot about that. What happened to Crosshair?
Yeah, I thought that too. But then how would Rampart even be involved? Because he was in jail. I mean, when all this was going on,
right?
He wasn't even. He was in. They took him out of the picture. He was gone.
Yeah, but he still knows that stuff happened to those clones and they did stuff to him. I mean, he would still know he was part of the Empire.
I would have loved if the series had concentrated more on the transition of the clones to the stormtroopers and stuff a little bit more. How that emotional, how that just works, I mean, it just touched on certain things and like just left it there. If that could have been like the theme of, okay, the Bad Batch represents the transition, they're like the finished product per se or whatever. These clones, they've been mind wiped and all that stuff. But how do they? I always said this. How do they feel about this? How are they transitioning, knowing that that they're going to be eventually replaced and stuff? How is all that working? I mean, all these like one-offs and stuff. They're nice cartoon stuff, for like the kiddies and everything. Okay, cute little adventures and stuff. But I mean, for me, I would have loved if they got a little bit dug deeper into like the clones,
So are we gonna forget about this black clone as well? I mean, I guess we're just not cashing that check. We forgot about him, huh? Haven't seen him just what I'm talking about. I mean, all these characters he created.
That's a check you're gonna have to cash last episode.
We're gonna see the assassin clone come back because we have to, because now the base is in turmoil. Right. The next episode is called the next episode's called The Cavalry Has Arrived. So that's even telling us that there's more going on. There's more that's going to happen. This is going to be I think this next episode is going to be like that last episode is going to fix everything. It's going to make everything all right.
In 22 minutes, Ken?
I don't know how long it is.
I don't think there's 22 minutes of answers that's going to satisfy me, like I said. But there's 22 minutes of film.
It can be, it can be good.
You can give me what I want,
right?
And what I want is sick, and it's gross, and it's Darth Vader showing up for no reason whatsoever. Hey. That's who the Emperor calls to fix his problems.
Yeah, Darth Vader would that would be like okay, I can dig it.
I mean, barring this big beast.
That's possible.
So barring we cash the Omega check that she releases this beast and it starts blasting and blowing up the mountain into space. So this thing is just like on a rampage on this planet, and it essentially like is like a Jurassic Park thing. He just like dominates the planet. because he's going to
Palpatine's just
obviously.
watching it, thinking back to that Godzilla episode of the Clone Wars, just like, oh, this is like, why don't I prepare for this? It's like,
That
this is the
was
second
good.
time.
Why can't we do that again?
It's only been 5 years, twice in 5 years. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It's a good show, but there's just there are just too many checks to cash. And like, so what do? We kill Hemlock. We kill Emery. Like, does Emery like people have to die in order to pay off certain things, and then people have to live.
So
yeah, I think Emery's going to be a part of this whole thing. I don't
She is.
know exactly
Now she
whether
is.
they're going to keep her or what, but I think she's in. She's down. She's down with getting the kids out. I like that scene with her and Echo where he's like, "There's kids, there's children." You know, I mean, that was a pretty big revelation because wait till the guys hear about that, right? So it's going to change things a lot. I think there's going to be a big
yeah, man, it's
battle
weird.
charge.
Once
It's
you
gonna be huge.
bring, children into the mix and you're experimenting on and confining children, it really changes the equation, huh? It's nice for you to admit that.
Anakin would know what to do with it.
Anakin- That's
Anakin
definitely
would
one
know
problem he knows how to
exactly
solve
what to
right
do
away.
with children.
See, that's why you send Darth Vader. Because if you're going to do a full
Honestly,
cleanup,
And Padme would be okay with it.
she'd be fine. In fact, that would be she'd like start calling him back again.
Yep, 100%. Right. She'd be returning his calls and not ghosting him and not blocking
Annie,
him.
hey, I heard you wiped out Mount Tantus and there was
all the
at least
kids.
5 kids. So I just wanted to say what's up.
Good job. Send him like an emoji, like a thumbs up
right.
emoji.
It's a thumbs down and a baby.
I'll go
Like a
ahead
baby
and
and
find
a
it in
thumbs
your
down.
DMs,
Right.
I didn't want to be a single parent so bad that I literally died. Which I get, right? Like that's a lot. It's a lot
I
to not
invited
get
him
any
back.
support.
I think twins. Also, bro, that's crazy. She had to
Yeah,
just.
you're right.
I mean,
Twins.
crazy, yeah.
Twins by herself because her no good
Yeah.
husband started committing
Yeah.
crimes. Why are you raising
Twin-
your kid
yeah.
by myself? Well,
Twin.
a political coup combined with a whole lot of child murder, and that's why I'm going to be a single parent. Bob Pat, man, she's just like, no, I'm out.
I kind of think these kids could probably take care of themselves. They don't seem like your typical, like they don't seem like your younglings that are just sort of naive and wide-eyed and new to everything. I mean, these
Waiting
kids
for Master
been through
Skywalker to
things.
help him.
Yeah, right. Master Sky. What should we do?
There's so
I think
many.
these kids, because what did Omega said? Stall for me, cover for me. They were like, what?
The best you can do is I got a tummy ache. That's the best you can do. And you're supposed to be a Jedi. You're supposed to have force sensitivity, and you can't give them an old fake fight or anything like that. Or
It
even
worked. It worked.
Or even a
It
real
all
tummy ache.
worked. A tummy
I mean,
ache.
who hasn't? I mean, we were all kids, right? We all tried to get out of school one way or the other. We faked a tummy ache before. And I think we could do I would do a better job than that kid at faking.
Or
a
that you
tummy
were
ache.
hungry? No, you couldn't. Because if you said you were sick, they'd just come over, scan you. Nope, you're good.
Well, that's when you got to make. You got to
couldn't
produce.
put the thermometer on the lamp like you used to.
gotta
get
produce,
that thing
Ken.
up
That's
to
just how it is.
150 degrees.
Because look, it's one thing to pretend that you're sick. It's another thing to actually be sick. That's how you have
it's
to
better to
actually
be
be
sick.
sick. Or actually
I mean,
make yourself sick, right?
I mean,
Sorry, I don't
the
know.
kids
I don't know what
did their part. So, and I was wondering also about like Jax and the I forget what the blue girl's name is, but are they the same like
Species,
race?
right?
Because they both have the tattoos on the face. They're both kind of similar. So I wonder if they're like from the same planet. I mean, what's their backstory? I'm like interested about that. Like
That's but that's what you're talking about. These are more checks, bro. We don't have enough checks in the checkbook. So you're interested in the kids.
Or maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe Nala Se doesn't matter. Maybe Emery doesn't matter.
That's crazy to
Maybe
say
that's
that.
just not.
But in this series doesn't matter then, because this is about Project Necromancer, which we're probably not getting finality on.
So
That's this
are
whole
you
season.
are you projecting over there, T Mitch? Like you did you say this series is about Project Necromancer, or is that just something that you just wanted to be about?
Right.
I mean, to be honest, the way it started, I thought this season was about Project Necromancer and tying together the whole idea of the finality and the extended life of Emperor Palpatine. Because once again, you talk about smoking guns, they would have not have brought him on this show if this season was not predominantly
I
about
agree.
that.
I mean, he's the emperor of the galaxy, and he showed up here. That's
Right.
pretty ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
like the president of the United States was at the Sheets Out and Moon, like where I go sometimes. So I think about that. People would think about like Palpatine showing up, right? I mean, that's a galactic scale, 100
And it's
billion
about the
times bigger.
same event. You know, it was literally the same event. He just came in there, screwing everything up, distracting everybody. None of the orders were right. I mean, it was
Went into the freezer, kept staring at stuff, saying, "Is that what I think it is?" And it was just beer over
Is
and
that
over.
a hamburger? I don't know.
Mhm.
I think I fell asleep between when I walked in the door and walked up to the counter.
After he tripped over the curb.
Right. Exactly.
Nah, that was Gerald Ford. That's Chevy Chase.
Gerald Ford did that too. Fell down the airplane. Yeah, right. But yeah,
That's why the airplane stairs aren't in public anymore. They're somewhere else.
Maybe this necromancer project was just a flash in the pan. Maybe it was not the end result. Maybe Palpatine's going to say, this didn't work, and whatever, let it fall apart. Who cares?
But we know that's not what happens.
No.
We know that this is.
How do we know?
Thing
We
that-
really
because somehow Palpatine.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
So we know it works.
Is this how he returned? I mean, is this his
Well,
clone?
This
Is
is the
this
beginning
it?
of it.
It's
This
pretty.
is the beginning of.
It's pretty
I mean-
savage, pretty primitive. I don't know.
If these new
That's-
cartoons are Filoni's attempt to tie up the loose ends of the sequel trilogy and tie it to the original trilogy in the same way that Clone Wars is his attempt to do that with the prequel trilogy,
Mhm.
then the answer to what is he trying to do is answer that question of what is the somehow, and somehow Palpatine returns. That's the most important dangling issue I think that's out there amongst the sequel trilogy movies, other than the other one, which is the Force democracy, right? How many people have the Force? Is it really tiny amount or a huge amount?
So you're saying in order for us to believe that Palpatine died at the end of Jedi, and he came back in the postquel, we need to have that answered right now.
Well, we know that he eventually comes to a successful cloning program because he clones himself, and we see the clone on screen that says, "I'm a clone." Those would be the pieces of evidence I would submit to eventually.
So we're missing that bridge, that road, in between this and when he returns. So
Right. So this can't be
it's a
successful.
huge
Here,
gap
right?
of time. Which I mean, maybe there's some other project going on that maybe we don't even know about. Because I thought he did most of this stuff on Mustafar anyway.
The project doesn't really take full fledged until they weaponize and create the Death Star, because then he doesn't have to worry about a planet like Tantus or a place. It's all under his eye and under his gaze. That's the whole illusion of this, right?
But isn't that Mustafar? I mean, Palpatine was
No, because
never on the Death Star.
yeah, but people know Mustafar though. I mean, there's been Jedi been there. Yeah, because there's a Sith temple on Mustafar that's under Anakin's his castle, which is where Padme is buried. So yeah, it's like a Sith. What do they call it? Nexus point. So
Yeah, it's basically like
a
burying
travel
the
spot. All the Jedi travel there
Yeah.
to check it
like,
out.
what is it, like Jeddah, like the Jedi planet or the ice planet where they create them? It's like that for the Sith. So I don't know.
But
I'm
if it doesn't do that, it needs to do something else that's cool. And if the reason it doesn't want to tie up all these threads is because there's more of this sort of content to come, then what it needs to do is set that up. So maybe we're just missing the boat because we don't know what the plan is for what's next.
right,
And this will all make sense in the end. And it's fine that this is taking its time getting to that point, because instead of season 4 of the Bad Batch, you have season 1 of Omega and clones or
Right,
doctors and kids fleeing law enforcement or whatever it's going to be.
I mean, frankly, I mean, Bad Batch is a spinoff of Clone Wars.
right.
Did continue directly from Clone Wars. So
Yeah.
it
But
could
to Ken's point though, if you give Omega another series, then it makes this kind of not null and void, but it takes the sting away from it.
Mm-hmm.
If
Because
you
you
get
think
return,
maybe we're going to get more. Are we just going to see where she is? Because we know about her youth, we know about her, her growth, her emotional development. What she finds important, like what motivates her. Like we already know all that. So now we want to see what happens after this. I mean,
Yeah.
does everyone get broken out? Like Nala Se is free. Emery joins the rebellion. Somehow, I don't know, sabotages this entire medical base. I see Hemlock escaping, but in what's it called? Where you leave, you disappear. You're in what? Like they did with Zod and them. They put them into the Forbidden Zone.
Phantom Zone.
Yeah, what is that called? Where you send someone away?
Exile.
He's like
Exile. Okay.
Exile. Yeah.
So I see Hemlock he failed. He let down the Empire. He let down his Emperor. Nothing he did came to volition. So he just and maybe he starts working for the rebellion somehow in some sort of capacity, a spy, a mole, who knows. But I think we're going to see this come to an end, and I think they're going to answer the questions that you guys want to hear to a point, but I don't think it's going to get in depth like we're all looking to have. It's not all going to be answered. This isn't the Palpatine show.
But no, but this they could have made this a two-parter, and this could have been part one of the ending, and did a part two at 15. That's all. Like this is not a bad episode, but
that'll make you feel better.
It's 3 episodes. Yes, because they could have cashed the checks and did a two-part ending and answered all these questions. Because we're talking about Project Necromancer, we still don't understand why the hell Hemlock was creating these like mutated animals. Like, what project is that? We're not going to get an answer for that. Like, why is he doing this?
T-Mitch wants details.
Why are you running King Kong versus Godzilla on this now?
Like,
why are you doing that?
I mean, that was to. I mean, you have this entire planet, and you have this one facility on there. You've got to do something to keep people out. So he weaponized the wilderness. He did he knew how to do.
My theory is that Palpatine gambles on these fights between these creatures that are all cloned and souped up. And he just shows up and he's just like 5 on the serpent.
Yeah. By the way, we don't condone animal fighting.
That's his Achilles.
No, we don't. Well, he's evil.
He's evil. Love the game.
Of course.
He's an evil guy.
For the young ones out there, we don't condone animal fighting.
I booed Michael Vick.
I didn't, but
I booed him significantly.
I didn't, but that's another story for another day. Yeah. That'll have to be another episode.
Say Palpatine's like
Michael Vick.
Like,
yeah.
A lot of ways he is like Michael Vick because he's the ultimate hybrid. He's fast. You see him fast with the lightsaber, but ultimately his arm strength.
Yeah.
When he hits you with the lightning, it's just like devastating. Boom. So when you have both of those things mixed together, it makes a real.
But on the side, he's fighting dogs. He's betting on dog fights.
He's got a lot of stuff going on in the background, man. He's busy.
What's that Megan's dog's name? Yeah, we didn't see him in this episode. Where's it?
Yeah, Batcher wasn't even there. Where's Batcher?
You tell me, Ken, because we're cashing all these checks today. We're cashing all these next week. They have a week to get the deposit in the bank because we got a lot of writing. Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, that right hand's going to be flying because we got a lot to cash, man, in a week.
Because look, and if you don't pay us now, there's going to be interest on this if you wait. So if you're not cashing this, and paying this back, it's going to have to be more interesting later on. If you don't, if you draw out the mystery, the payoff has to be bigger.
If only that were true. If only they would actually pay
I sort of think like what the Steel City was saying that there's more content on the way. It has to be as far as like animated stuff. You can't just end this and not have something in the bag. Maybe they may come up with another what's the Star Wars? What was the thing we would just watch? Star Wars Rena. What did we watch before this? The this season of Bad Batch that you guys did that we didn't like, I guess.
Resistance.
The
Oh,
Resistance.
yeah,
Oh,
Resistance.
they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that shit again.
Please no, no more.
They won't do
Those
that.
guys. I mean, eventually it got to be pretty decent, but Bad Batch was pretty good at the beginning. And it's interesting. Like, they tell these story. I mean, yeah, these characters have gone a lot, and the stuff they're doing is like they were just shooting robots that were like hapless, and they would just run game. They would run plays on them like they were playing like junior high football, and they were just like adult men playing junior high football, like just running people over. And now there's real stakes, and they're so like they're the super underdog here, right? Like they're on the run, they have no transportation, they're split up. The thing they're trying to do is get into this vault where they have all the ray shielding, so they can't even get in there. And then they've changed a lot. And I think it's interesting how the first season was kind of Wrecker and Omega got close. The second season Tech and Omega got close. Third season Crosshair and Omega got close. And is Hunter going to get some time here where he's going to be able to differentiate and express more personality? It makes it interesting when you think about who's going to go forward and be in the next show amongst the Bad Batch.
Well, wait till Hunter finds out about the kids.
He's not going to like that.
Nope.
No.
He's not going to like that, and I don't think Rambo would like it either.
Yeah. Wrecker, he's going to be highly upset.
He likes kids. I mean, he's only 11 or 12 years old, so technically speaking.
Yeah, technically he is a kid, so it's going to get ugly. I mean, they don't know what's coming.
When you think about it, the Bad Batch, we've seen them on this show. They've gone from basically like 9 to 12 years old, and that's a big 3 years. I mean, the things you're doing, like the things you're concerned about, like you're 9 years old, it's like Willy Wonka, candy, chocolate, and then by the time you're 12, I mean, I was watching Sports Center. You know what I mean? Like I had some sort of a social life. I was at least capable of being embarrassed by myself, at least. So, that's a big 3 years for these guys. And now they're entering, their teenage years, and they're rebelling against their dad, Palpatine. And hey, it's going to be what it is.
So is Omega going to grow up? Like, do
you mean or not?
Or not? Is she, because she's a clone, is she forever a clone? Do they have the genes or DNA or whatever to get older? Well, I guess we did see that with in Rebels, right? With
Rex gets old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess they do kind of like have that ability.
Yeah,
it's weird, but she grows up, but her growth is and it makes this whole, and this is what I'm talking about. This is why there's too many checks to cash, and I'm getting frustrated because like her growth is like accelerated, but it's not. And then you have this issue that we're understanding of Grogu, and his growth is slowed down as well. So like, is he a clone? Like, you know what I mean? It seems so. We're building all these storylines of like similar characters in two different I guess universes or two different time frames on the same timeline. And like I don't know. There's a lot on there, and this is such a good show. The reason I think I'm getting frustrated because there's so much there, and this is just a Filoni theme now. He just leaves it too late. He just creates all these ideas, just like Ahsoka. We can go down to all this stuff, and we just can't say it's a Star Wars thing because Andor was closed off, right? The other series that were done by other people were closed off, right? It's just like a Filoni thing lately that like he just doesn't. He has all these ideas, and then it's just like at the end, he just throws all the keys, all the shit, to the wall and sees what sticks.
Andor had structure, man. It had structure. It had arcs. It had like sagas. It had a sequence of events, an overarching plot. It answered a lot of questions, left them unanswered. But they also said, "Look, it's 2 seasons, man. Chill out." So we know there's way more to come. We have an idea of what the pacing ought to be.
We also knew what happened to the character.
Right.
We already knew.
I already have an end destination already set.
The end.
We have nothing now with these guys. We don't know what happens to there is no Hunter in the canon Star Wars story. There's no Hunter or Wrecker or Crosshair. There's no Omega. There's actually really no clones.
The unknown soldiers, right?
Yeah, right.
Significant, that really Ahsoka, does she even know about these clones?
She wouldn't know, but I mean, it's not saying that we might not get, as we alluded to, an Omega. I mean, who knows? And that's another thing. He's good for like these like dropping these things in, these like cliffhangers, like these characters, like or at least tying the story up. Who says that, that on the Mandalorian episode or something, they don't go into a story of, Clone Force 9. I mean, he always does these Easter eggs or somehow foreshadowing something that, ties us together. So
I'm cool with them being like the unknown soldier, type, but Omega has to be something, I think. Omega is an important character that I feel that they have to continue the content with her,
yeah.
with especially everything that they put into, just making a character these past 3 seasons. I think she has way more character development than the rest of them.
I just don't know how I don't know how they tie it in, because it looks like, finally, as me and Hitch alluded to, they're going to start telling a lot of dark side stories. So it looks like Star Wars is shifting from these light stories and all this to more of the other side of Star Wars. So we might get like as Ken alluded, we might get like the Tarkin tale, or we're going to get more dark side stuff, because we're going to get a lot of dark. We're getting a lot of we might get a tale of some Imperial type of being. We kind of have, if you want to call him, an Imperial being and the ultimate villain in the Ahsoka series, right? Even though, so I just think we're going into a different, aspect of Star Wars that we're not used to seeing, because we never had the villain get a tale, right? And that's the cool thing. The villain never gets to have their tales told. It's just they were a villain, and that was the ultimate penultimate ending is the villain's killed.
You you've hit a really good point, which is it feels like if you think of like Knights of the Old Republic, it definitely feels like we're doing a second playthrough now, where we're doing all the evil stuff. And maybe the first time we try to do mostly good stuff, and like we help people out, like we went and like helped them save their bar or whatever.
Mostly.
And this time it's like, hey, will you help save us? And you're just like,
Yep.
over and over, right? It does seem like that we're getting a little spurt of that, which is nice. It's a nice different flavor for sure.
No, I'm excited, but like I said, so we talk about another check. What's going to happen with Rampart? Is he just going to? I think, if anything,
he's going to wind back in the Imperial.
I think he's going to become.
That's it.
No, I think after he finds out what they're doing to children, I think and we're talking about this is like the beginning of the rebellion, right? I think he like turns, because he's kind of anti-empire. He's on his own thing. I think this might spark him to becoming like somebody who helps the galaxy, because he realizes how like shitty they are, really.
He seems a little salty, for sure, that he gave the Empire his life, his allegiance, his loyalty, and what did they do? They stuck him in jail. But he deceived them. He betrayed them. He was a mole. He was giving the rebellion information. So why does this surprise him when they found out who he was? Why does this surprise him? So, that's something too. Maybe he does become someone that we can kind of trust, but I don't know I don't feel that's going to happen. I see him blowing up, like maybe doing something good, but I see him being written out of the picture. Wouldn't surprise me.
So I guess we're cutting out, like, none of these characters are going to die, right?
Well, they have to. He has to go, like, or it's one of those things, and it's kind of like the Black Panther effect. When you have a tragedy and you kill more main characters, like, you can't do this, right? There's like no way to end this the right way. Like, do you kill Nala Se? Do you kill all these people? Do you kill Rampart? Do you let like so many live? And then there's always this, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just it puts it in a really difficult place, because her and the kids obviously survive. Do the clones, Clone Force 99? Do you want to have a bad ending to their show that they all sacrifice themselves for the greater good of Omega? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
not.
I think once you bust all those prisoners out, you release them somehow strategically, they don't have a chance. Those stormtroopers, those bucket heads are going to get run over like nobody's business. I mean,
I
there's going to
definitely
be
think a
heads
mob-
rolling everywhere.
Mob of clones over like a contingent of stormtroopers for sure.
Man, because these guys not only are they've been experimented on and had blood daily, twice a day. They've been probably tortured, mind scratch. I mean, they're looking for a little payback. So you bust them out of their cells. I mean, you can count on them to do their part.
Yeah.
Plus, what does Crosshair have to do? Just tell them, remember Order 46? Do you remember maneuver number 6? You know, whatever. And they'll all be like, yes, we do. And they'll do whatever.
Remember Order 65?
Yeah, 65, right?
Why do we always got to talk about Order 66? There's a lot of orders. We just follow a lot of orders. You want to talk
We
about
had orders,
bring
we
up
had orders
66
before
over
and
and
after
over
that.
and over all day.
Well, we still don't know what's wrong with Crosshair and what they did to him, right? I mean, that's another thing. Like, he was visibly fucked up. Like, did they put another chip in his head or something? Or maybe they try to like fry him. Like, I don't know what's going on
Did
with
they
him.
scrape his brain?
You know, did they take his blood? Like I said, who's this?
Well, they did
mysterious-
something to his head. He has massive scarring.
Yeah, that's
How
what
do
I'm
we
saying.
know
ounce
this is
of
the
his
real?
skin are
We don't know
gone.
this is the real Crosshair.
We
You know,
don't.
this is a cloning facility, which we know. So it could be. I
I
mean,
mean-
they could do a lot of stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of avenues they could explore here that would be, you know, as good as cash, right? As good as answering those questions and resolving those. There's a lot of stuff they could do here. My concern is they don't do any of that. They just play it straight, and it's like, whoop, whoop, yep, they escaped. See ya.
And
I
credit.
think that's what they're going to do.
That's what we're gonna
Oh,
do.
man.
Which will be that'll be. I mean, for real, I'll be fuming next week if that happens. Ken, there's no escape. There is no escape in like the whole like, oh man, the ending. Like, no.
You run out of
Because-
road, man.
Because then we you know what was the last week's episode or the week before, right? The whole like hold on to Tech's goggles, like let's drop that Easter egg in there. Let's leave Tech's goggles on the thing here because like for no reason we're just gonna leave him here, just in case. So
You know,
that-
with her friend on the shelf.
right,
Remembrance.
yeah, right. To a planet you're probably never gonna make it back to.
Yeah, I don't think that had. That was just a moment. That was
There's so
that
many planets, though.
was
Yeah.
an emotional bond to her brothers. I don't know that was really part of a storyline.
No.
Wasn't enough. I mean, was it? I don't think
No.
so.
I'm excited for next week, Ken. You know, you've been very, very, very defensive of Disney, which I can appreciate. You know, very,
Well,
very.
not at Disney. I got a lot. I mean, I don't have problems with. You can't have problems with them. I don't because they'll come and, like take you away if you do.
Problems with Disney tend to go one way real quick.
But I, you know, if we're going to be this hypercritical of this like 20 minute,
I have to be. I have to be. Unfortunately.
It's not bad. Again,
No, it's not.
It's not
but it's just
bad.
that-
The question is like,
it's
what
the
are you?
episode?
What are you
placement.
doing with this? What's the purpose of this series being created beyond it being cool? And
I think
and
y'all
it's cool
just
stuff
wanted
happening.
these because season 1 and season 2, the episodes were a little over an hour. I mean, there was more time than we are getting now.
No, they were all like 20, 22 minutes, 24.
Well, not the last couple because I've been watching them. The last episode anyway was over an hour.
of Bad Batch.
Yeah, season 2.
If he does that, if he gives me an hour, I'll apologize on air. But more than likely, I won't be. So let's not do that.
Yeah, they were. But
25 minutes running time, playing 99, season 2, episode 16. 25 minutes.
Yeah. So there you go. Another 25 minutes of closing all these storylines, Ken. So you have
It's a lot.
you have a week and 25 minutes to build your defense for the ending of like everybody just riding on a damn transport ship off the planet as it explodes. Like we haven't seen that 7,000 times.
that's Star Wars. That's the story. It's how it works.
That's George Lucas. This is Dave Filoni. I need more. Based on X-Men '97, I need more now. If Marvel learns to get it right, whether it's animated or live, I need Star Wars to get it right. So that's my final argument and final take on this week's episode. But it's been fun. I know. We give Ken a hard time, but Ken is the eternal optimist on this show. He is. He has a shorter fuse than I do, as DP knows. My fuse gets my burns pretty quick when it comes to things. But it happens.
Team Mitch, get to the point. Team
guys,
Mitch,
another fun one here. Yeah, right. Get to the point. Get to the point. Just ignite the lightsaber right off the bat, like they did in episode. That's what drew everybody in episode 7. Kylo Ren stopped the blaster bolt like 3 minutes in the movie. I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, let's go.
And then it stopped. It was done at that point. It was over. There was nothing else. He stopped the laser bolt. That's it.
Yeah, and then you had episode 1 all over again. I mean, episode 7.
Basically. So yeah, but we digress. And thanks everybody for tuning in again. Hopefully you guys will be back on Facebook, and whatever doesn't get banned from the country, we'll be live on there for you to be able to view us as well. So it's getting late. So until next week, guys, this is the way.
This is the way.